Hello, my model building friends. It's Brian back again with BG Model Workshop, and this is the final on our 2018 Cancer Awareness Group build. Again, thanks to Mr. Chris Cortell and to Mr. Bob Buski for hosting that. We know that hosting a group build can be very taxing, especially when you got a lot going on in your own personal lives. So not only me, but I'm sure the rest of the community want to thank you for doing that. It's greatly appreciated. So what do we got going on here? We got the Revell 1969 Camaro. This is the Yenko SC edition. And, you know, the kit actually has just different decal pack and a couple other little deals going on here for the Yenko edition. But in real life, the Yenko car was a demon all on its own. Very, very cool car. And, wow, that was weird. We just kind of went blurry there for a second. Sorry. But I've always been a Corvair fan, and that's how I got introduced into the world of Yenko cars, because he started off with Corvairs back in the 1967-ish era. So he started hopping those things up and then moved into Novas and Camaros. But fascinating story. I've done a little research on that and everything. I've done enough research to find out that the interior color I've chosen is incorrect for a Yenko, but I don't mind. They basically came all black, stripped down with no rear seats, and fiberglass hood, and a couple other racing doodads and deals that were pretty special back in the day. But I decided to go with a gloss black ducktail spoiler in the back, and I didn't realize it when I was getting everything ready that there's actually these little kicker decals that go on. Oh yeah, BG's got his Halloween costume on already. There's little kicker decals that go here. So when I put the decals on, they went on like a dream, by the way. We were a little worried that there's going to be some issues with those because the kit came to us second and third hand, probably even fourth hand. And it was a gift from my Aunt Joanne, who this kit is actually built in honor of because she is currently fighting liver cancer and lung cancer, which is why it's so perfect that we did the car in an emerald green and the white stripes. But the kit came to us from her for Christmas last year in 2017, and it was open. Lots of parts were clipped off. The decals were just floating around inside there. So we were a little worried that the decals weren't going to come out quite right. And when I was doing all the decal work on this yesterday, I kind of was like, well, if this works, it works. Okay, that one went on. Well, if this one doesn't work, this doesn't work. I can still peel these back off again, you know, type of thing. We'll just go with a solid green car. And it all worked out just great. The only thing I would do differently would be I would glue the ducktail spoiler on first and then go back and put the decals on because the side marker decals are they're dependent on where that ducktail spoiler comes into play. So I did have a little bit of an oopsie on the driver's side, but it's, you know, I'll point it out to you. You probably wouldn't be able to tell unless I did. But as far as the kit goes, it's awesome. The engine alone is beautiful. I mean, if you want to pick up a kit and do some castings, this would be the engine to do that on because it's got separate oil pump, separate fuel pump, separate oil filter. I was thinking of the two things and I combined them together into one word, and then a separate starter motor, as well as some beautiful looking headers too. And a very highly detailed coil with the vacuum advance on there as well. We'll try and get you a beauty shot of that here in a moment after we get done spinning. But the color is just TS-20, and that's just over some gray primer. I had tried to do a different paint job with a transparent green over a silver base coat, but I'd used the wrong paint. I'd used the stuff for the Lexan bodies for RC cars. I was guaranteed by the kid at the hobby shop that he's done that many times with his model kits, so I'm fairly certain that his model kits all look like crap. But we did some bare metal foil around the front and rear windscreens. I'm pretty sure I know what the F stands for in BMF now because of all the effing that goes on, and the drip rail down through here. And then our little trim piece down along the bottom. Let's just go back a little bit there. Yeah, you can see that a little bit in the shiny bit down there. But we did that with Silver Sharpie. Those parts, to my recollection, were never extremely shiny on cars. They were just called bright work because it was a polished piece of stainless, kind of stuck to the side of the car. And sometimes with the age, stainless didn't really buff out and get like very, very shiny like the BMF would be, or the chrome bumpers. So that was kind of cool. The taillight buckets are very cool. It's an actual chromed bucket with taillight lenses that pop in, and then those mount from the inside. So you just, before you go and do that, hit the area with some Silver Sharpie all around so you can do the little trim that's on there too. And then when that's dry, go back and just pop in the taillight buckets from the inside. Boom, good to go. The car is actually kind of tacked together right now because we're having a little bit of an issue with some tripoding going on. The rear roll pan is actually just taped into place, along with the rear window and front window screens. Those are taped into place also because we are planning to go back and take the interior tub out and grind it down a little bit because under the passenger side footwell, it seems like it's a little too deep for what's going on with the chassis pan, and they're kind of conflicting a little bit, and it's giving us a little bit of a tripod action going on there. So we're going to get that corrected. As a matter of fact, the body does lean a little bit towards the driver's side because of that issue. So maybe in the next week or so we'll get some time and go back and readdress that. But for now, which is a new word I'm creating, a new phrase I'm creating, I do need to go back and do my indicators. We did run a little short on time because my father-in-law, Mr. Bill, did have a mild stroke, which took him out of commission for a little while, and we were very worried for a short time there. And we spent time at the hospital almost every day, and there was time taken off work and all that kind of stuff, and constant communication with family and everything. And again, we'd like to thank everybody for all the wonderful thoughts and prayers about that. So thank you so much for that. Now let's take off our... I just use what is it, a tea needle? I don't know what it's called. I stole it from my wife from her yarn stuff. But that's what I use to prop open the hood. So here's the engine compartment. You can see that engine is shoehorned in there fairly well. And the distributor in the back I was talking about, see how it's right up against the firewall? I would leave that off, leave off the coil, and leave off the air cleaner until the very last bit, and then go after it once it's all assembled. So other than that, other than the interior tub kind of not working out right with the body and the chassis, everything else went together like a freaking dream. I really like it. The only complaint that I have with this particular kit, and I know it's because they had reissued this a while ago, and they just tossed in some different wheels. I think it's because it was part of the Fast and the Furious line. I'm not sure. So they had tossed in these really cool looking mag wheels, but they didn't change the wheel backs at all. So I would, if I had more time, I would go out and see if I could find something in the parts box that would be a great rotor and caliper deal to put behind all the way around, because it doesn't quite look right. It looks okay, but not right. Alrighty guys, thanks for tuning in again. That's our final for the 2018 Cancer Awareness Group build. I'd like to also say thank you very much to everybody who supports Mrs. BG in her new venture of doing some YouTube videos through our workshop. And it's the Mrs. BG review for you of model kits. So we're hoping to do that at least once a month, maybe a little bit more often, depending on her schedule. She's a very, very busy lady. She's a pharmacist, and she is literally out saving babies' lives. All right, everybody, have a great day, and we'll talk to you a little bit later on. And don't forget to have a safe and happy Halloween. Bye now.